how do you actually become an industry producer? How do we actually be the Tay Keith, the Metro Boomin, the Pierre Bourne, the BNYX? How do we become that guy? All right, I seen some comments from a particular gentleman, particular fellow, who was kind of perturbed. Now let me stop. He was not satisfied with the way that many producers on YouTube teach on how to get placements, because most producers on YouTube will teach from the perspective of sample makers. You send your samples, you make a melody, you make a sample, and then you send that sample, you send that melody to another producer who will then send that beat that they finish to an artist. Everybody don't want to be a looper. Everybody don't want to be a sample maker. So he's upset. He's like, I want to learn how to be Tay Keith. I want to learn how to be Metro. I want to learn how to be the guy that's right next to the artist who's making that beat for them. Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to be that guy. All right. So if you don't know me, I'm Nile Waves. I produce for Lil Baby, Pooh Shiesty, Raul Rodriguez, Chris Brown, Lil Durk. The list goes on and on. Right. And I only say that so you know that you're getting something real and authentic when you come to this channel. Because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a producer. All right. I'm not a YouTube guy. Now, let's get to this. It's a 5-step process. It's very simple. I didn't say it was easy, but it is very simple. Number one, you got to get nice at making beats. All right. That's obviously all the industry producers we know are extremely good at making beats. What does this mean? You have to put in the work. You got to put in time. You got to put in effort. You got to put in reps. This is just like any other skill-based thing. Nobody that's great in the NBA got there by just making, by just playing basketball sometimes or being lazy. Nobody that's great got there being that. Everybody that's great, they all have stories of how hard they worked, of work ethic, of putting it in. So it's the same with this. It's the same with music production. If you want to get to the highest levels, you got to be nice. And in order to get nice, you got to put a lot of time and effort into getting nice. So that's the first step for any producer. Anybody who's watching this and you feel like, man, I want to be on that level. Well, get nice first. Don't just produce for 3 months or produce for a year, but be inconsistent and think that you're just going to get some placements. You ain't finna get no placements. You ain't getting nothing. You about to stay exactly where you're at. Or you can work and you can build a foundation of musical knowledge, of beat making knowledge, of wisdom, of understanding how to create music and how to create beats that actually sound good. Because when you play your beats for somebody, you don't want them to listen to it and be like, all right, that's cool, you doing your beat thing, okay. Nah, you want that stank face. You want that stank face when you making the beat. When you sit down and you make beats, what does it sound like to you? Are you sitting there scratching your head like, this might be good, Or are you like, when you making the beat, I be in here dancing. I be in here, and I don't even dance like that. I be in here dancing when I be making beats. Because they be that hard. That's the level you got to get to. So that's the first thing to focus on. Number one, get nice at making beats. Study. Watch tutorials. Get in the mix. Join the class. My class isn't open right now. It will be open very soon. But learn from people who have done some of the things that you want to do. Not just anybody. Don't let that go over your head. All right, we're going to continue. That's step one. We know we got to get nice. Step two. You need to be able to find an artist that you really want to work with. That's local to you or just upcoming, but that you can connect with somehow over the internet. So let's take one of our biggest producers that we know, right? Tay Keith. Tay Keith, how did Tay Keith become the Tay Keith that we all know and love? Well, Tay Keith started out producing for who? Black Boy JB. Where was Black Boy JB from? Memphis. Where's Tay Keith from? Memphis. These guys are both from the same place in Tennessee. Tay Keith built up Black Boy JB's sound. and he produced his biggest songs. So you have to find an artist that you really believe in and start working with them so that you can take over a small area first. Let's look at BNYX. BNYX worked with Yeat, but what did they take over? They took over the SoundCloud underground space of the internet. They took that over. You have to find a small space that you could take over so that you can grab attention. But in order to do that, you have to find that artist, and you have to start building with that artist. So it could be someone local, or it could be somebody on the internet that you could connect with, but you have to believe in them, right? So BNYX didn't become BNYX just magically overnight. He didn't just wake up and just produce a song for Drake. Tay Keith didn't just wake up and now he has all these crazy #1 hits. It didn't happen like that. It's not like that. How did it happen? He started off by working with the artist that was local to him. Now, what happens after you begin to work with that artist? Well, you have to create that artist's biggest songs. So you have to be the most consistent with that artist. You have to be making the best beats for that artist. And remember what I said, not the best beats for that artist. So you have to create sonics and a sound that meshes well with the aesthetic of that artist. Sonics that, and when I say sonics, I'm just saying like sounds, music. You have to create music that goes with that artist's aesthetic, that goes with what they're talking about, that fits. Like, I'm not gonna make a boom bap beat for Yeat. Might not fit. Now, if I make it in a certain type of way, maybe we could do something different. But if I just make a classic boom bap beat for Yeat, that might not hit the way it's supposed to hit, the way that Yeat's music really hits for real. So you got to make the right music for that artist. And this is where you get to experiment and create your sound. So when you're working with this artist, like I said, you got to be consistent. You got to be working with them. You got to be creating the best music for them, because the best music for them is going to be the best music for their fans. And that music will now translate into their biggest songs. So if you look at Tay Keith, he had Block Boy JB's biggest songs. Now, Block Boy JB probably had other producers that was trying to send him beats back at that time and work with him at that time. But Tay Keith's beats, for some reason, were the ones that he went crazy on. The ones that garnered national attention. Look at BNYX. Yeat has other producers that work with him. But for some reason, BNYX's beats and Yeat's sound, they just mesh so well. And because of that, he's produced some of Yeat's biggest songs. So this is how you have to approach it, right? You have to approach it in that way where you're being consistent, working with this artist, where you're sending them your best stuff that's the best for them. Where you're creating a sound, a world around this artist. You're really building their sound, because that's what it's about. Now, once you build their sound, what happens after that? What happens after that? So that's step 3. If you've been following along, we went through 3 steps so far. Number 1 was get nice. Number 2 was find an artist that's either local to you or non-local to you that you could get in contact with, but that's upcoming, that you can really create a sound around, that you can start to build, and then produce their biggest songs. You got to produce their hits. You got to produce the songs that propel them into the mainstream. And after you do that, you have to get attention. For who? For yourself. Tay Keith, crazy tag. BNYX. Crazy sound. We all know about that bass he uses, right? We've all seen the videos, the streams of him working in the lab. Image. So he has an image. He got a sound. He has a tag. He's active on social media. We know what he looks like. He's not a blank page. Some of you producers, blank page, nobody knows who you are. We just see beat snippets. Come on. You have to be someone that is someone. You got to be you have to carry yourself as an artist, because you are an artist. Don't just be in the shadows with it. People need to see you. And this is why we know these producers, because they have a strong brand. We know who Tay Keith is. We know what he looks like. We know what his tag is. We know what his sound is. His sound is very distinct. So in this part 4, what you're doing is you're gaining attention for your sound, for your image, for your tag. You're gaining attention for that. So you're not just standing in the background. No, you're doing the interviews. You know, you're doing the photo ops with the different rappers. You're doing these things that will bring attention to you, so that you'll bring more opportunities your way. So that people will be like, oh, he produced that beat. Let me reach out to him. I have an artist on my label that I want to work with him. Now you're starting to attract opportunities to you. This is how you now start to attract a Drake to say, yo, Tay Keith and Blockboy JB going crazy. Who? Blockboy JB? These beats is wild. Tay Keith made these beats. I want to work with Tay Keith. He got some crazy beats. Or Drake when he's like, yo, Yeet's going crazy. I want to work with BNYX. These beats is wild. I need some of that. So now industry people will start to hit you up, because you're starting to create a wave. You're creating a sound. You're creating something that people are really vibing with. And this is the highest level of producing. To be able to create a sound with an artist, to propel that artist into the mainstream, and to now have people that have already been in the industry, or people that are strong in the industry, now hitting you up to want to work with you. So this brings us to step 5. Capitalize on those connections that you're making. Capitalize on those opportunities in order to get more placements with artists who are not the artists that you necessarily built. So Tay Keith didn't start out producing for Drake, but he has some of even Drake's biggest songs now. Crazy. BNYX didn't start producing for Drake, but he has some pretty big songs with Drake too. Southside didn't start producing for Future, but he has some of Future's biggest songs. Southside started with Waka Flocka Flame. As far as his mainstream kind of attention, that's where it started. Waka, right? So all these different producers, they always started with an artist or some upcoming artist, someone who was local to them that they could work with, build a sound, take over their area. And then they went from doing that to using the connections from the attention that they've gotten, because they had a strong brand, because they had a strong tag, because they had a distinct sound, all this attention that they're getting, they're able to use that attention in order to make more connections and to network with people within the industry, because those people in the industry are hitting them up. They're not trying to chase after the people in the industry. The people in the industry are hitting them up. Yo, let's work. I need your sound. Yo, I got an artist on my label, and we want them to have all your beats. That's how it works. So let's go through the steps again. Number 1, get really nice. Number 2, find a upcoming artist who's either local or who you can connect with online. But make sure that that artist and you have the potential to take over some sort of space. So that could be a region, like taking over Memphis, taking over Atlanta, taking over New York. Or that could be something like taking over the underground space, in hip hop music, taking over that SoundCloud arena. It could be something like that. And then number 3 is you have to produce that artist's biggest songs. You have to have a sound that connects so well with the artist and the artist's fan base that those songs that you produce become their biggest songs. It can't just be some of their throwaway songs. It has to be their biggest songs. That requires you to spend a lot of time working on that sound, cultivating it, working with the artist, putting songs out to see what people resonate with and what they don't. It might take a lot of testing, but it's just putting in a lot of work and being consistent with that artist. And then once you do get those big songs, once you do get that, that hit, whether it's a regional hit or a mainstream hit, once you do get that attention, once you do get that hit, now you'll start to get number 4, step 4, which is that attention. Now make sure people know that it's you that produced that. Put yourself out there. You should have a great tag. You should have a great image on social media. You should do the photo ops. You should do the interviews. Be in the music videos. Don't be in the shadows, so that people know who you are. And since people will know who you are, it'll be easier for people to now connect to you and also reach out to you so that they'll want to work with you. Which now brings us to step 5, which is capitalizing on the opportunities that now come to you as a result of you working with this artist that you started with and building that sound for them. Now you got this artist hitting you up, Atlantic Records hitting you up, Lil Baby hitting you up, OVO hitting you up, Kendrick hitting you up. You got all these different people hitting you up because you created a sound for an artist, and other rappers are like, yo, that's hot. I want some of that. Let me hop on a beat with that. Let me hop on a track with that type of beat. Let me get it from the source. That's what you want to do. And then you capitalize on those opportunities and produce some really great songs for those artists. And once you do that, you're an industry producer. You're solidified. You're solidified at that point, right? And I guarantee you, if we did like a study, like a scientific study, and we decided to say, okay, let's take our biggest producers in hip hop, the ones we all look up to. How many of them went through this channel? Murder Beats, who we start with? Migos, before Migos was popular. Zaytoven, Gucci Mane, before Gucci Mane was Gucci Mane. London on the Track, Young Thug, before Young Thug was that guy. We could keep going down the list. Do we have to keep going down the list? This is the way to become an industry producer, period. Now, can you do it in other ways? Yeah, sure. You could know somebody and they could put you in rooms with people and you just all of a sudden you just got some place. Yeah, but that's the rarity. But this right here is the rule. This is the way. This is the tried, proven path. Okay? The tried, tested, and proven path. We know that this is a path that works. We know that this is a path that many have taken. And it continues to happen. Even to this day. We just saw it with BNYX, right? This is the path that happens all the time. Okay? So hopefully this demystified the idea of the industry producer. And it gave you a clear roadmap that you can now start to go down in order to, get that mainstream success that you want. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And for those of you who are interested in my class, interested in learning from me directly and learning how to become a complete producer, how to make crazy melodies easily with no problem, or how to make insane beats easily with no problem, or how to network with other producers and get placements, hit the link in my subscription. Hit the link in my description and join my Waves newsletter. I give away free kits. I give away free knowledge on how to make it as a producer, habits, tips, tricks, things that you can read, get motivation from, all types of stuff, man. Newsletter is crazy. All right. So I'm going to be out and say peace. As you can see, I'm talking kind of slower now because I'm getting a little tired, but it is what it is. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.